mother's words cut through the chatter of our family's annual summer gala. "You'll never amount to anything," she said, loud enough for nearby relatives to hear. "Still playing with computers in your little apartment while your cousins are making real careers." I adjusted my simple black dress, a stark contrast to the designer outfits surrounding me in our family's mansion ballroom. At 32, I was the family's designated disappointment. Alexandra Carter, the one who'd walked away from the family's investment firm to pursue childish tech dreams. My cousin Ethan smirked from behind his champagne glass. "Hey Aunt Marie, did you hear about James's new partnership at Goldman? Now that's success." James, my younger brother, straightened his Armani tie. "Well, someone has to maintain the Carter family reputation. While some of us," he glanced pointedly at me, "waste time with startup fantasies. If they only knew that their precious investment deals were processed through systems my fantasy had built. That their secure communications, their trading platforms, their entire digital infrastructure ran on technology I'd developed." "Speaking of success," my mother continued, waving over the photographer from Forbes magazine, "James, darling, let's get a photo for your feature article. Alexandra dear, maybe step aside. We want to project the right image." I moved away from the group, clutching my phone, my lifeline to my real world. The screen lit up with a message from my COO. "Everything's in place. Should we proceed with the announcement?" For the past decade I'd been building Shadow Systems, a tech empire that operated in complete stealth mode. No public face, no flashy announcements, just pure innovation that had quietly become the backbone of global finance. Our clients knew us only by our results, never realizing the mysterious founder was the same person they dismissed at family parties. "Carter Investment Group still using that outdated trading system?" Uncle Robert laughed nearby. "Alexandra, isn't that your area of expertise? Oh wait, you just code websites or something, right?" I typed back to my COO, "Release it. All of it." Within seconds, phones around the ballroom started buzzing. First one, then dozens, then every screen in the room lit up with the same breaking news alert. Breaking news. Mysterious tech billionaire revealed Shadow Systems founder steps into light. The photo accompanying the article was from last week's private photo shoot, me in a power suit, standing in front of the Shadow Systems logo. The headline below read, "Alexandra Carter, the hidden force behind modern finance." The room fell silent. James's champagne glass slipped from his fingers, shattering on the marble floor. My mother's perfectly maintained facade cracked as she stared at her phone screen, then at me, then back at her phone. "Impossible," she whispered. I pulled out my own phone as it rang, putting it on speaker. "Yes, Marcus?" "Ms. Carter." My CFO's voice filled the silent ballroom. "The Wall Street Journal is requesting comment on Shadow Systems' acquisition of Global Tech. Also, the Carter Investment Group's board is requesting an urgent meeting regarding their system licenses." Uncle Robert's face turned pale. Their entire firm depended on those licenses that, as of this morning, I controlled completely. "Schedule the board meeting for tomorrow," I replied calmly. "And Marcus? Make sure they understand who they'll be meeting with." As I ended the call, my brother stepped forward, his arrogance replaced by confusion. "Alex, what have you done?" I smiled, remembering all the family dinners where they'd mocked my career choices, all the galas where they'd pushed me to the background. "Done." I adjusted my simple dress, which, though they didn't know it, cost more than their combined outfits. I built something bigger than this family ever imagined possible. And now, I glanced around at their shocked faces, everyone knows exactly who did it. The Forbes photographer was now pointing his camera at me, his earlier dismissiveness replaced by keen interest. My mother stood frozen. The party she'd planned to showcase James's success now transformed into something entirely different. "Alexandra," my father's voice came from behind me, speaking for the first time that evening. "We need to talk." I turned to face him, years of dismissal and underestimation giving weight to my words. "Stat. We certainly do." My father led me to his private study, that sacred space where he taught James the family business while I was told to focus on more suitable pursuits. The room smelled of leather and old money, but tonight something was different. The power dynamic had shifted. "How?" he demanded, closing the heavy oak door. "How did you build all this without us knowing?" Before I could answer, the door burst open. James stormed in, his perfect hair disheveled, followed by my mother and Uncle Robert. Their phones were still buzzing with notifications as the news spread through financial circles. Shadow Systems, Uncle Robert muttered, scrolling through his phone. Valued at $89 billion? That's impossible. You're just A what? I interrupted, perching on the edge of my father's mahogany desk. A disappointment? A hobby coder? Please finish that sentence. My phone buzzed again. I answered on speaker. Yes, Sarah? Ms. Carter, Microsoft and Google have both reached out about potential partnerships. Also, the Carter Investment Group stocks have jumped 40% just on the news of our connection to them. Should I arrange the press conference for tomorrow? James collapsed into a leather chair, loosening his tie. Our stock jumped because of you? Ironic, isn't it? I smiled. The family disappointment actually boosted the family business. Though after tomorrow you might want to update your systems. The ones you're using? They're about to become obsolete. You're bluffing, James stammered. We just upgraded last year. I pulled out my tablet, displaying complex code sequences. You upgraded to Shadow Systems version 3.0. Tomorrow we release version 5.0. Exclusive to our premium partners. I paused, letting that sink in. Which, at the moment, you are not. My mother stepped forward, her society mask cracking. Darling, surely we can discuss this. We're family. Family. I stood up, facing her. Was I family when you excluded me from the holiday card because I wasn't corporate enough? When you told the board members' daughters not to associate with me because I was just a computer girl? I walked to the window, looking out at the party guests hurriedly checking their phones in the garden below. While you were all focusing on James's career, I was building something revolutionary. Those little coding projects you mocked? They're now the foundation of modern financial technology. My father cleared his throat. The family firm needs those systems. Without them, Carter Investment Group would lose 60% of its functionality overnight. I finished. I know. I designed it that way. Uncle Robert's face reddened. You deliberately made us dependent on your technology? No, I corrected him. You made yourselves dependent. I offered to upgrade your systems years ago, remember? You said, and I quote, "Leave the real business to the adults, Alexandra." My phone buzzed again, a message from my team. Times Square billboard going live in 3 minutes. Live feed ready. I turned on my father's large TV screen, tuning into the Times Square feed. There it was. My face on the largest billboard, alongside Shadow Systems' logo and stock ticker. The headline read, "The future of finance has a new face." James stood up, staring at the screen. All those times you said you were working late on your little projects. I was running global operations. I nodded. Those conference calls you heard me on? Fortune 500 CEOs. That small office you mocked? Just a front for our real headquarters. The study door opened again and our family's longtime lawyer, Mr. Harrison, rushed in. Sir, you need to see this. The licensing agreement with Shadow Systems. Alexandra's signature has been on it all along. We've been working under her authority for years. My father sank into his chair, finally understanding the full scope of what I'd built. What he'd dismissed. What he'd failed to see. Tomorrow morning, I said, gathering my things, Shadow Systems goes fully public. The tech world already knows who I am. Now it's time for the financial world to understand exactly what that means. As I walked toward the door, my mother called out, "Alexandra, wait. The party, there are reporters." I turned back one last time. Yes, there are. And they're not here for James's Goldman partnership anymore. The study had never felt smaller than it did at that moment, filled with the weight of years of underestimation and dismissal. But now, finally, they understood. Their phones kept buzzing, each notification a reminder of the empire they'd failed to see being built right under their noses. The next morning, I stood in Shadow Systems' real headquarters, a gleaming 80-story tower downtown that my family had never known existed. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city, including the Carter Investment Group's significantly smaller building several blocks away. Ms. Carter, my assistant, entered with a tablet. The press is assembled in the conference center. Also, your family has arrived. I smiled, checking my reflection in the window. Gone was the simple black dress from last night. Today, I wore a perfectly tailored white suit that cost more than James's annual bonus. Send them in. The door opened and my family filed in: father, mother, James, Uncle Robert, and several other relatives who'd dismissed me over the years. Their faces showed a mix of awe and discomfort as they took in the sophisticated technology surrounding them. Welcome to Shadow Systems, I said, gesturing to the chairs around the conference table. The real one. This is incredible, James muttered, staring at the holographic displays showing real-time global operations. Those childish video games I was supposedly playing? I pressed a button and the displays shifted to show complex system architectures. Actually revolutionary AI algorithms. That waste of time coding? Currently processing 70% of global financial transactions. My phone buzzed, a message from Sarah. Stock market opening in 5 minutes. Shadow Systems IPO ready to launch. You might want to watch this, I said, turning to the main screen. The stock market opening bell rang and Shadow Systems ticker symbol appeared. Within seconds the stock price began skyrocketing. My mother gasped as the numbers climbed. Uncle Robert gripped his armrest. James looked like he might faint. 1 hour until the press conference, I continued calmly, where I'll announce our next innovation: quantum-based financial systems that will make current technology obsolete. Including, I looked pointedly at my father, everything Carter Investment Group uses. Alexandra, my father stepped forward, his voice strange. We were wrong. Yes, you were. I turned back to the window. But this isn't about wrong or right anymore. This is about the future. Your firm has 2 options. Partner with Shadow Systems as a subsidiary or become obsolete. Subsidiary. Uncle Robert sputtered. The Carter family firm has been independent for generations. The Carter family firm, I replied, is worth less than 2% of what I built while you were all mocking my career choices. My phone buzzed again. Miss Carter, the press conference is ready. Also, Microsoft and Apple CEOs are here for the partnership announcement. I straightened my jacket. Now you have a choice to make. Join the future I'm building or stick to your outdated traditions. Either way, Shadow Systems will revolutionize global finance. James stepped forward. I'd like to learn about what you've built. If you'll teach me. I studied my brother's face, seeing genuine humility there for the first time. Lesson 1. Success isn't about names or traditions. It's about innovation and vision. My mother dabbed at her eyes with a designer handkerchief. All those times we pushed you aside. You taught me to be invisible, I said. So I built an invisible empire. The door opened. Sarah walked in. Miss Carter, it's time. I stopped at the door. The press conference will announce our global fintech overhaul. Your company is on the partner list, if you agree. My father stood. You're giving us a chance? I'm giving you an opportunity, I said. I'm not the family disappointment anymore. I'm the future of finance. Flashes hit my face as I walked to the podium. My daughter has changed everything, my mother whispered. No, I thought. I was always this person. You just never saw it. The world was watching. My family would see what their nothing had become, a force to reshape finance. Revenge isn't just proving them wrong. It's winning so big they can't see you the same way again. I was no longer Alexandra Carter, the failure.